Hi sir, this is Akila from Computer Science Engineering in specialization of AI and ML. Today's my topic is control statements in Java. Control statements in Java. First, introduction to the control statements. Here the control statements are essential components in Java programming language. They allow developers to detect the following of execution in programs, and understanding these statements is a crucial for writing efficient and effective code. Here are the control statements in Java: decision making statements, looping statements, and the branching statements. Here, first, decision making statements: if statements, if else statements, and the switch statements. Second, looping statements: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Here are the thought statements: branching statement, break statements, control statements, and next. What are the types of the control statements? Java control statements are divided into three main categories. These categories include decision making statements, and the second one looping statements, and the third one branching statements. Each type serves a specific purpose in managing programming flow. Here are the categories of the control statements. Control statements to cause the flow of execution to advance and the branch based on changes to the state of a program. Categories: first one selection statements, second one iteration statements, third one jump statements. Here are the first one. Selection statements allow your program to choose different paths of execution based upon the outcomes of an expression or the state of variable. First, Java supports two selection statements. First one if statements, and the second one switch statements. The following are the if statements. First one simple if statement, second one if else statements, third one nested if else statements, and fourth one else if ladder. First we will discussing about simple if statements. Syntax. Have a syntax: if condition flower bracket open statement 1, which means if block, and flower bracket close. Here the first statement is evaluated. If its result is true, then first statement gets executed. Here the example: if m is equals to n, system dot out dot println both are equal. If m and r equal, then it prints both are equal. Next, second one, if else statements. Here we have a syntax: if condition statement 1, if block, else statement 2. First condition is evaluated if it results true, and then statement 1 is executed, otherwise statement 2 is executed. For example, if m is equals to n, system dot out dot println both statements are equal, else it prints system dot out dot println both are unequal. Next, third one, nested if else statement. Here we have a syntax: if condition 1 flower bracket, if condition 2. Condition 2 has a statement 1, else statement 2. Next, if block, else statement 3. First condition is evaluated. If it results true, then condition 2 is evaluated. If it is true, then statement 1 is executed. Otherwise, we have statement 2 is executed. Otherwise, statement 3 is executed. Next, we have a else if ladder. First, we have a syntax: if condition 1 flower bracket open statement 1 close, if condition 2 open statement 2 close, if else if condition 3 statement else condition n and statement n. Here we have the condition 1 is evaluated if result is true, then statement 1 is executed, otherwise statement 2 is executed. Then next, condition 3 is evaluated if it is true, then statement is executed, otherwise statements n is executed. Next we have a switch statements. The switch statements in Java multi-way branch statements. Syntax switch. Expression of variable. Open case 1 value 1. Statement sequence. Break and case 2 value 2. Break. Case 3 value 3. Break. And so on. Case value n. Break. Default statement sequence. Next we have a iteration statements. A loop repeatedly executes the same set of instructions until a termination condition is met. Java's iteration statements are follows. First one while statements, second one do while statements, third one for statements. First while statement. Syntax while condition execute the block of the body of loop. It repeats a statements while it controlling executed condition is true. Then iteration statements. Here the example for the while loop. Class while loop flower bracket open public static void main string arguments flower bracket open int n is a 10. Here we have a int n is a 10 while n greater than 0 flower bracket open system.out.println test comma n. Here n decrement flower bracket close. Here the output for this example is test 10, test 9, test 8 and so on, test 1. Next, do while statements. It is an exit control loop. Syntax do flower bracket open body of the loop flower bracket close while condition. It repeats a statement or a block while it controlling expression is true. For example, if I is equals to 1, do system.out.println test comma I increment flower bracket close while I less than or equals to 10. Then next, third one for statements. It is an entry control loop. Here we have a syntax for expression 1 comma expression 2 expression 3 flower bracket open body of the loop flower bracket close. It repeats a statements or a block while it's controlling expression condition is true. For example, for I is equals to 1 and I less than or equals to 10, I increment flower bracket open system.out.println test comma I flower bracket close. And the third one, jump statements. Java supports the 3 jump statements. First one break, continue and return. Break statement. The break statements has a 3 uses. It terminates a statements sequence in a switch statements. It can be used to exit a loop and it can be used civilized form to go to. First one, break statement. Here we have an example class break loop public static void main string arguments flower bracket open for int I is equals to 0 I less than 100 I plus plus flower bracket open if I is equals to 0 break terminate the loop if I is 10. Here system.out.println I comma I flower bracket close system.out.println loop complete, close the code. Here we have a output I0, I1, I2, I3, I4, I4. It prints up to 10. Then next, continue statements. A continue statement causes control to be transformed directly to the control expression that controls the loop. It is useful to force any early iteration of a loop. For all three loops, any intermediate code is bypassed. Next, jump statements, continue statements. Example, class continue loop, public static void main, string arguments, flower bracket open. For int I is equals to 1, I less than or equals to 10, I plus plus. If I is equals to 5, continue. Terminate the loop if I is 10. System dot out dot println I comma I, flower bracket close. System dot out dot println loop complete, close the code. Here we have a output I1 up to I10, it prints. Next, we have a return statement. The return statement is used to explicitly return from a method. It causes program control to transfer back to caller of the method. The return statement immediately terminates the method in which it is executed. And here we have an example for the return statements. Class return statements, flower bracket open, public static void main, string arguments, boolean t is equals to true, system dot out dot println. Before the return, if t return, system dot out dot println, this won't execute, close the code. Output before the return. And finally, conclusion. Mastering control statements in fundamental for the Java programming efficiency. They provide the necessary tools to create dynamic and representative applications. By understanding and applying these statements, developers can change their code skills and efficiently. And finally, thank you. Thanks for giving this opportunity.